This video is going to be my reaction to the Lions' 30-24 win over the Vikings, one that secures the division and a playoff berth, obviously. It should be exactly where you wanted this team to be as a Lions fan. At any point during the season, during the team's 5-1 start, before the year when all the, quote, hype was out there about the Lions, I never considered it hype because I thought all you had to do was look at the team's games from mid-season to late 2022, and you could see the quality of football they were going to play under Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, and Aaron Glenn. This win wins the division for the first time in a long time. I'll let you guys celebrate that however you wish. I think even during the team's difficulties centered around or clustered around the Thanksgiving Day loss to the Packers, this is exactly where you wanted to be. It now gives the Lions coaching staff and players options for how to handle things in the last 2 weeks. There's games out there to be played by the Eagles, by the 49ers that are important games against rivals or teams that are equivalent that can threaten them. There is no reason why, as a Lions fan, you shouldn't consider all possibilities for the end of this season, including hosting a game in week 2 of the playoffs. So I'm going to talk about certain players. This is going to be less scientific than my normal reviews, to be honest with you. I'm trying to get this one out as quickly as possible to get to a family get-together. So Melifonwu, Ifeatu Melifonwu. I'm glad that I learned how to pronounce his name last week because he showed up again today. 5 tackles, 2 sacks on that, what now should be a patented blitz. I've got to do a video, standalone video on him. I packaged one with him and Brian Branch last week because the safeties played so well. I guess I could do the same thing this week if I wanted to. Kirby Joseph, 2 picks. Branch, 1, and Melifonwu, 1 as well. Ended up with 4 interceptions of Mullins, the backup quarterback. The play to finish the game by Melifonwu. I don't know about you, but I jumped up out of my seat. It was fun to watch, to see the team, the defense, that had given up so many yards to Justin Jefferson, including that 29-yard completion on, I think, a 3rd and 19. A couple of them, actually, on 3rd and longs in the second half. Melifonwu goes up and challenges him. Yeah, if it's a better thrown ball, if, did it slip out of Mullins' hands? I don't know. It certainly didn't look like anyone tipped it or interfered with his ability to throw. Melifonwu was probably going to be able to challenge the throw regardless. If it's thrown further towards the right-hand side from the quarterback view, the end zone angle that I saw in the replay, it's going to be more difficult for Melifonwu to get there. But he's a guy who doesn't care. I don't know much about the dude, but just watching him play the last 2 weeks, there's a tremendous amount of competitiveness and tenacity. And look, let's be honest with you, the game could have been over a couple minutes earlier. Romeo Okwara gets the strip sack that Kaminsky was unable to pick up. Branch played well. I did think he got beat by Powell and Osborne separately across the middle of the field when they were playing man, but played extremely well. Had a sack, an interception, 2 really nice coverage plays, I thought, earlier on in the game. Kirby Joseph, 2 picks, and did something really smart and underrated after the personal foul hit he drew on Justin Jefferson that I'll try to explain a little bit more in detail later. Total team victory, even though special teams I thought was kind of poor at some point during the second half. Got an extra point blocked, but 2 amazing punts, back-to-back on the same situation. Pinned the Vikings down, I think, right around their 10-yard line both times. Horrible spot on the second one. I thought the ball should have been at the 10. Ref spotted it at the 12. Goff was in total control today. So much for the Brian Flores defense glitch that was magically going to turn him into a pumpkin. He was 30 of 40. And that offensive line today, after some early struggles, maybe it was second, third possession, or maybe it was third, fourth. There were some situations there where the Vikings were able to generate pressure. They were lights out after that. Only gave up 1 sack and 3 quarterback hits, while the Lions rolled up 400 yards of total offense. They did only average 5.1 yards per play to the Vikings, I think 7.6 yards per play, but all of that is because of Justin Jefferson pretty much. KJ Osborne did have 5 catches for like 92 yards. O-line, like I said, gave up 1 sack for 3 quarterback hits, 28 first downs. And really the final 2 offensive possessions, I thought, was the Lions kind of moving away from their more aggressive play call style. I don't want to use the word conservative, but there was clearly an attempt to run out clock on those last 2 possessions where they were unable to do so. The Vikings matched them, I guess, from an overall standpoint or overall output. Most of it was Justin Jefferson. I think he had 8 catches for 140 yards. Maybe it was 6 catches, my apologies. KJ Osborne did have that 47-yard catch on a one-on-one with Khalil Dorsey. Otherwise, the Vikings offense was just not dangerous at all. I mean, there was this feeling that if they're not trying to get the ball to Justin Jefferson, there's not really a whole lot they could do. Run game got shut down. Lions held them to 17 yards on 11 carries. If I did my math correctly, on plays where Justin Jefferson isn't targeted or touches the football, 45 offensive snaps for 242 yards. So that includes the 47-yard catch by Osborne. So there was not this consistency of effort throughout the day. Some would say, hey, Mullins, why don't you just get the ball to Justin Jefferson more? I thought the Lions' D-line played well at times. Like I said earlier, you had a chance to finish the game on the strip sack by Romeo Okwara that Kaminsky, I don't know why he doesn't dive on the ball. He's one of my favorite players. Nonetheless, 4 sacks and 11 quarterback hits by the Lions and 8 passes defensed. Mullins is a guy who looks like he's willing to take chances. He's willing to get the ball down the field for better or for worse. And, of course, he threw 4 interceptions. Guys made some plays, just enough to get a win and clinch the division. At this point in the NFL, I don't think you care really how much you win by if it's a game where you clinch the division. For you as a Lions fan, I'm sure it probably feels amazing. For some of you that have sat through so many seasons of either unproductive situations or teams that were good enough but not good enough to get into the playoffs. Hopefully this chops down some of the pessimism that's out there related to the Lions in the playoffs or even getting there. But I understand there's still uncertainty about the playoff positioning, possibly facing former Lions quarterback Matt Stafford and the Rams. But for today, there's a lot of good to discuss. My review, to be honest with you, is going to be a little less scientific than normal. Talk about the first half first here, and then get to some second half situations I want to mention. It'll be a little shorter than normal. So the Lions took a 17-14 lead at the half after that late touchdown by where the Vikings and Mullins kind of discovered where Justin Jefferson was. He took over that late second quarter possession, got the 26-yard touchdown to get the Vikings within 17-14. Mullins was in perilous situations multiple times in the first half. I thought that the Lions did a great job defensively, picking and choosing when to get after him and when to eschew pressure and play zone. Nonetheless, on that late second quarter drive, Mullins seemed to find him. He had thrown 2 interceptions to that point while targeting other players, and this seemed to be an opportunity for the Lions to have to adjust. So let me talk about how the Lions got the lead a little bit. On the Jared Goff versus Brian Flores front, I mean, this first possession should have let you know that that was not going to be the day today. You had 16 yards on in route to Reynolds, kind of like his patented, this is first drive, by the way, kind of like his patented route, if you ask me, kind of like deep in cut, whatever you want to call it. 16 yards. 2nd and 9, Montgomery bounces. This happened 3 times today. I thought it was Montgomery twice and Gibbs once. It's a tray formation, so there's 2 tight ends, 12 personnel. And then outside of those 2 tight ends is a wide receiver who's at maybe 5 yards width, 5 yards wider than the outside tight end. And the running back, in this case, Montgomery, ends up bouncing it outside. Vikings would never really adjust. Actually, it was 4 times because one time Gibbs just made the safety 24 miss. Out and out made a miss. I'd say on those 4 bounces out of outside zone, out of tray right or tray left, it's probably 8-9 yards of carry. Gibbs on an 8-yard run to the field, 8-yard catch to the field on a swing pass. This 3rd and 5, man, Goff dodges a defender, completes it to St. Brown for 14. I think it's the 6th play down for you guys from the top. That was important because it kept the drive going and retained possession of the ball, number 1. Number 2, established something that has, I think, been present or flowed throughout the games where the Lions played well offensively. And that's that they convert on 3rd downs, often, particularly on scoring drives. Sounds kind of basic, right? Just basic level observation, but early on converting on 3rd downs, I think was important. 2nd and 12, after a 3-yard run or a penalty on Laporta, I think it was on Laporta. It may not have been on him. It was 1st and 10 from the 29. I got it listed as minus 5 yards. It was not. My apologies. It was on Raymond for lining up offsides. 2nd and 12, gets a complete to Raymond near the line, the sticks to gain. I'm like, how is that not a 1st down? He dives, lands at the sticks, rolls forward. The defender doesn't touch him. This isn't college. Nonetheless, Campbell tries to throw a challenge flag. They don't accept it, but the 3rd and 1 worked. Again, it was Trey Wright under center, off tackle. Montgomery got it for 3. Eventually, Montgomery bulls in behind. It looked like to me Craig Reynolds at fullback, number 13, and that's an interesting dynamic there. You really have 2 tailbacks on at that point. Gives the Lions a 7-0 lead. They're able to retain That lead until halftime, 17-14. Two weird plays I have to mention early on the Vikings' first possession. We'll skip and let some game stats flow here. My apologies. First play of the game is a delayed pass to Josh Oliver, a former Raven, by the way, for a big gain. I forget how many yards, but like 19. And then KJ Osborne on a play action boot. I feel like that's been an issue all year, dating back to week 2 against the Seahawks. Run action to one side, and then someone getting deeper than linebacker level on over concept. It was KJ Osborne this time, so it's difficult to ask Anzalone to get there. I thought Anzalone and or Joseph blew the first coverage, the man-to-man against Oliver, and then to me, Anzalone's the guy who could get underneath that route to KJ Osborne. But look, it's a wide receiver running across, so credit to the Vikings for their design there. Branch had an interception and then a quarterback hit to finish the Vikings' second and third possessions. To that point, the safeties were really involved. Malifonwu had a sack that was ruled a fumble and then overturned. Branch also had a quarterback hit and an interception and another near interception on the Vikings' first drive. So the safeties, again, really involved and especially early. Lions did have another long drive stall out after a really nice play by the corner for the Vikings. I think it was Blackman. It was a throw from Goff to Reynolds that would have been a first down inside like the 15. Lions had reached that area after a really weird play where Goff throws a completed pass to Laporta short of the yard to gain, and then Jones, a D-tackle for the Vikings, it's ruled a personal foul. I'm not sure about the call, to be honest with you, but nonetheless, a really cool, really fortunate series of events for the Lions, I should say, because got that first down on a quarterback hit that was ruled a personal foul, and then I think on the same possession, a third down pass from Goff from the 19, Goff's arm gets hit on the throw, and the refs let it go. Vikings return it for a touchdown. To me, it seemed clear live that it was an incomplete pass. I don't know about you, but when I watched it live, I was like, that's incomplete. But the replay was closer than the broadcast. When I saw the replay, I was like, oh no, this might be the kind of thing they give them. Thankfully, it was a quick replay, and they came back out to overturn. Ensuing field goal gets punched through for a 10-7 lead. Lions made it 17-7. Joseph intercepted a pass, his first interception from Mullins to Addison, deep down the left hash. And then the Vikings finally discovered Jefferson near the end of the second quarter. So I'll talk about that briefly. I was a little disappointed in the 3rd and 9 coverage. It was Jefferson over the middle against Cam Sutton. This is late second quarter, about a minute left, 3rd and 19. Malifonwu just got a sack on a blitz, negative 9-yard loss. And they play two-man. Sutton ends up inside leverage. Jefferson sells him to the outside and then brings it back over the middle. It just concerns me a little bit, like, why, at that point, why aren't you with the safety playing some type of leverage situation? Basically telling Sutton, hey, you can get beat to the outside, just don't get beat to the inside, or vice versa. Give him. I just feel like Justin Jefferson's gonna beat you. He's gonna beat you if he's got a two-way go. He'll beat you sometimes if you've got a one-way go. You saw that in the second half. But and then Mullins escapes the pressure. Last play of the second quarter, last offensive play for the Vikings, that is, escapes the pressure on a 2nd and 10 from the 26. Finds Jefferson for a 26-yard touchdown to make it 17-14. They also went at Dorsey, I thought, early third quarter. Really nice design to finish off that drive that gave him a 21-17 lead early in the third quarter. So it was a play action down on like the maybe the 11-yard line or something like that. No, it was a 6-yard line. My apologies. Play action pass out of 12 personnel. It ends up being a touchdown against Dorsey by KJ Osborne. But I want to reference a play 2 plays earlier. Same exact setup, same exact personnel group, same exact formation. Was a run play on a 1st and 10 that Osborne stepped inside the tight end and led block on a run concept it was only 3 yards, so unsuccessful. Credit to the Vikings. 2 plays later, they returned to the same exact formation, same personnel group, same look by Osborne, the tight end, and the running back. And in this case, I think Dorsey kind of gets caught looking in the backfield. Now, he may not have been the corner on the other side of the field when it happened, because the run play was to the Lions' defense's right, and the pass play, the touchdown to Osborne, was to the Lions' defense's left. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. So he may not have been the guy who saw both of those looks. Nonetheless, he gets caught looking in the backfield. Osborne wide open. Even though I'm rooting for the Lions, and I know you were too, you have to enjoy to some degree when plays are built off one another. Although I do not know if Dorsey, like I said, was the quarterback on both sides of the field. So Lions are able to go down and get a touchdown on their seventh possession. My apologies. There's the seventh possession to make it 23-21. Extra point blocked. Very unfortunate when I said special teams was disappointing. This team's been pretty good on special teams, other than the fake punt against the Bears like a month ago, I guess, or Packers a month ago, I guess. But this situation was another one where the Lions make a statement, and Goff makes a statement. Like, you're not going to be able to stop us when we want to score. Convert 2 fourth downs, on the drive to go down and take a 23-21 lead. Gibbs had a big lane on that fourth and 1, and I thought it was important. They ran to Laporta's side, I thought, 3 times on 3rd and short or 4th and short in this game. The big play on this one was outside zone to Gibbs. He escapes the tackle. Again, it's a 2nd and 10 from the 44. It's the 5th one down for you guys from the top. It's Trey Wright under center from 12 personnel, like I mentioned on the first drive. Ben Johnson seemed to go back to that often. The 3rd and 7 to Laporta, he was close on the drag, but the linebacker 44 makes a nice play, holding him short. And then run play to Gibbs on the 4th and 1. I thought he nearly busted it. Ends up being for 18 yards. Jamison Williams, a really nice catch on the right hash when I thought there was contact after the catch. So he caught the ball, took a big hit. 4th and 1, really smart play call by Ben Johnson. Goff goes up. Now, maybe it was a check by him. I don't know. But it's a 4th and 1, 3rd play down from the bottom for you guys from the 7-yard line. Sneaks over to get the first down. Credit to Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson. They're committed to that 4th down philosophy. And I think they knew, they needed touchdowns to win this game. And in this case, they needed 2 more. And then St. Brown open over the middle. Used Laporta as the inside receiver. Kind of pulled the safety's attention a little bit. And then the higher side in route. This is a concept that they've used often on 3rd downs. Slot receiver runs a under. Outside receiver runs the deeper in route, or vice versa. Outside receiver runs the under. Inside receiver gets more depth further downfield and then runs the in route. Conceptually the same thing, just different guys exchanging their jobs. So 23-21 lead. At that point, Lions defense actually gets a stop on the Vikings ensuing possession. I want to cover this week this really neat defensive alignment that the Lions used against 12 personnel. Like this outside 90 technique by Anzalone. He's like maybe 3-4 yards off the line of scrimmage, 2 tight ends to one side for the Vikings, and he's outside leverage. Now, he doesn't make the play, but whatever they're doing inside there, it almost looks like a one inside linebacker look. Whatever they were doing just totally dominated the 12 personnel run game by the Vikings. So it's a really cool look. I'd like to take a look at those. I think 4 or 5 times I saw that alignment. Creates a 2nd down pass play. The very next play, Anzalone covers the tight end extremely well, incomplete. Just tells you about the versatility of Anzalone. He's lined up as an outside linebacker, I guess. Didn't make the tackle on the 1st down play when the Lions limit him to 1 yard. And then the ensuing play covers a tight end probably 15, 18 yards down the field. Then the 3rd down play was a 3rd and 8, looked like zoned by the Lions. Mullins was only able to find the fullback underneath. And the Lions were able to force a punt and go right back down on their 8th possession and stack together. This drive bridged the 3rd and the 4th quarter. And this is one that I want to use again to hammer that point home that, Jared Goff versus Brian Flores, which is an oversimplification. Like, Brian Flores is a really good defensive coordinator. He's had some really good football players, some really smart football players. And at times they were able to get big wins over Goff, especially in the Super Bowl. But I think it was more so due to the Patriots coaches out-coaching Sean McVay. It almost seems like there's certain quarterbacks the media wants to pick on as they're the reason why they lost. And now at this point in 2023, I get to cover 2 of them that the media kind of treats like that, and that's Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson. In any case, this drive starts 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, finishes with a Gibbs touchdown that was just too easy. 1st and goal from the 4. Look at the 3rd down conversions you've got here. The one that was really fun to see was the 3rd and 8 from the 25. It's early 4th quarter. Complete to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Underneath versus man for 11 yards. awesome moment for him because I know he's a hometown guy and hasn't been able to have much impact lately. As an aside, I was totally disappointed in Jonathan Vilma trying to paint it as the Lions offense didn't get going until 2 or 3 defenders for the Vikings got hurt. I mean, did you watch the first drive? Did you see where it was 17-7 at one point? And the Vikings are facing a 3rd and 19, and they've got a amazing Hall of Fame caliber talent in Justin Jefferson who goes up and makes a play. To me, the team that looked more efficient, the team that looked more fundamental, like they were generating consistent offensive yards on every drive, was the Detroit Lions today. The Vikings had one brilliant football player. Yeah, I know Kirk Cousins is out. I get it. So 2 other third downs on this drive was converted. 26 yards to St. Brown. 3rd play down from the top for you guys. 3rd and 4. Looked like Zone and Goff had a lot of time. Additionally, St. Brown had a 15-yard catch against man. It's the 2nd and 10 from the negative 48, excuse me. It's the 5th play down for you guys. 15-yard gain, catches it, spins away from man, and then Laporta, adjusting during the play, hits a block downfield that allows St. Brown to get 2 or 3 more yards maybe. Bridge to the 4th quarter, 2nd and 6. Laporta converts it into the boundary. No one on him. It's ace under center. It's play action. Laporta slips out into the left flats. Nobody on him at all. You had the 11-yard catch on 3rd and 8 by Donovan Peoples-Jones. And then St. Brown, who had some great catches today, his best one doesn't count. It was ruled incomplete. 2nd and 4 from the 8-yard line. 3rd play from the bottom for you guys. Only had 1 foot in bounds. I didn't think it was play action. Goff was involved in under center straight drop back more today than I remembered. And I think that's possibly some influence of the amount of pressure that Flores and the Vikings do and try to get on you in terms of blitzes. So I think that's another thing to try to cover in some film study videos. And then Gibbs converts the 3rd and 4 from the 8. Fortunately, he kind of didn't catch the ball cleanly, let's put it that way. And when the ball is in the air, I don't know about you guys' experience, when the ball is in the air and he's got it coming to him, I'm like, all right, well, this is an easy first down. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. He's super talented. He's had a great day. He turned it into a more difficult situation. I thought he took one hit or maybe slid off of a guy and got it, but you can see it's a 3rd and 4, and they only marked it for a 4-yard gain because the very next play is snapped from the 4. 12 personnel, Trey left, and I thought this was brilliant by Ben Johnson. So it's Trey left, meaning 2 tight ends to the left and a receiver 4 or 5 yards wider than the outside tight end. It's outside zone, right? They've been hitting him with that. I talked about that, on the first drive. Nope. He motions Laporta, the outside tight end, across to the other side. Huge lane. 4-yard touchdown for Gibbs. This is the one that they showed the replay of where Sewell is able to combo up onto the D end, up to the inside linebacker. Really takes advantage of that one inside linebacker look that the Vikings were in and makes it 30-21. I don't know about you. I still didn't feel super comfortable at that point. And sure enough, the Vikings go down and get a field goal on their 9th possession. But really a couple of nice plays by the defense, I think, held them to a field goal. It makes it 30-24 with 5 minutes left. But think about this. Vildor challenged Jefferson on a one-on-one in the end zone. I know it's a phrase you did not expect to hear in Week 16, whether you're a Lions fan or not. That was a 1st and goal. Then a pass rush. I think it was Buggs, who's one of my favorite. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't Buggs. Maybe it was Jones. Maybe Buggs didn't even play. Sometimes with the jersey color, the gray, it's difficult to tell, especially when they're turned to the side. So that 2nd down, someone got pressure. Throws it away as Branch had great coverage on the tight end. I don't know why Mullins threw that ball. Maybe I'm misremembering it or maybe I saw it wrong, but it looked like a type of throw. I'm like, why are you throwing that to that tight end? I think it was 86. But, hey, he takes chances. Then on 3rd down, 3 guys covered the running back and contained the quarterback. When I say that, I mean after Mullins scrambled out to the right. There was 3 guys there to kind of contain or cage the quarterback, if you will, and then someone to play the running back once he slipped out as well. So closes to 30-24. I don't know about you. I'm a little disappointed in the Lions, the 10th possession. It was real tough to watch. They have and credit to Vilma, who I didn't really enjoy listening to for 40% of the game, but this was one of the situations I thought he was spot on. 2nd and 7, negative 39-yard line. Montgomery's getting 3-4 yards, a carry. I don't know about you. I'd like to set up a 3rd and 4, or I'd like to set up a 3rd and 3. It's the incomplete pass to Gibbs on the 2nd and 7, creates a 3rd and 7. Fortunately for the Lions, There's a penalty, illegal contact downfield, and it was an accurate call. It was a good call. Reynolds is a half step late getting there on that deep end concept that he hit him with on the first play of the game. And when they showed the replay why the illegal contact was called, sure enough, he's the guy who got hit by a DB maybe 14 yards downfield. So credit to the refs in that situation for getting one right. They don't often do that. Montgomery for 3 yards, and then false start, delay, 2nd and 17, 2 run plays to Gibbs. Very fortunate. I know I've used that word many times, and I'm not trying to make it seem like this win. I'm not trying to minimize this win at all. It's a great win. I don't care who's playing quarterback. It's week 16 in the NFL. It clinches you the division. These 2 punts by the punter, whose name I don't even know. Apparently, the first one, they only had 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. The ball, I think, hits at the 17 and rolls down to the 11, maybe the 12. So it hits soft. Great punt. And then the penalty on the Lions makes them have to re-kick. So you're talking about 4th and 18 from the negative 36. I think he kicks from his own 25. And the returner for the Vikings gets caged. He gets caged and falls down at the 10-yard line, and defense has got a chance to win it. Vikings are able to move the ball down the field some. I don't know about you. For me, I was a little nervous. I got to be honest with you in that situation because they have Justin Jefferson. He's already made an amazing catch with Sutton and Joseph right on him. It looked like zone to me to convert a 3rd and long. And when Mullins pulls the trigger over the middle, I was kind of like, oh, goodness, what's he see? What's there? And thankfully, Melifonwu, who is just, I don't want to say coming out of nowhere, but he's a guy who the national attention, people would not know who he is. They would say, where's he coming from? What's he done to warrant this? Well, he's played great the last 2 weeks. I don't know about 3 weeks ago necessarily. I know he had, I think, 6 tackles 3 weeks ago, played a lot of snaps. Last week was certainly amazing. This to cap the win. I think this illustrates a lot about the Lions team. If you stay with me this long, my apologies that this one wasn't as scientific as normal. But I think that Melifonwu being the guy to get the interception and seal the win, or Kaminsky, if Kaminsky recovers the fumble, either one of those guys being the guy who makes the game-ending play against Justin Jefferson is really who this Lions team is. They've got some super talented guys. I've gone on record as saying how good I think Amon Ross St. Brown is, and people were triggered over it, not Lions fans, but others. They've got some superstar players. Him, Hutchinson, Sewell, Gibbs has got superstar potential. Jamison Williams clearly has all the talent in the world. For it to be Melifonwu, a guy to close the game against Justin Jefferson, don't minimize what your team can do. Don't minimize what guys like him can do. It's very easy for people to say, well, they can't get this done in the playoffs. And some people will say that tomorrow morning, I'm sure. Oh, they can't do this against the 49ers. They can't do this against the Eagles. They might not even be able to do this next week against the Cowboys. That might be true against Dallas next week. But they're in the playoffs, number one. They'll get an opportunity to make those plays in the playoffs. And I just think it's the coolest thing in the world that both of the teams that I'm blessed enough to cover have, quote, underrated guys or guys who've been devalued who can make plays. Romeo Okwara with a strip sack. I wish Kaminsky had recovered it, but looking back now that it finished the way it did, I'm really glad that it was Melifonwu who did. Now I'll get to do another video on the line safeties this week. Appreciate you guys' time, man. Again, I didn't necessarily mean for this one to last so long, but I know you enjoyed the game. Hopefully you enjoyed my reaction video half as much. If you did, please consider sharing a link to this video out on social media so that other Lions fans can enjoy it too. Appreciate you guys' time.